listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
Baseball isn't boring. I am joined with Mike Vasil. I am your host, Courtney Finnicum. Mike, so nice to see you. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on and being back on this fantastic podcast. I really appreciate it.
Well, I like that you said fantastic podcast. That's very important. You're already scoring major points with me as a new member of the Chicago White Sox. But you've never been on with me before, so I'm a little bit different than Rob. But we are excited to have you back on the show. We are also excited to have you here in Chicago. So kind of just jumping right into everything that you've gone through the last few weeks. How are you holding up? What's your mindset? You're sitting in Cleveland as we speak. How are things going for you overall so far?
Yeah, things have been pretty crazy. But I think for me, things have been going really well. Trying to get adjusted to a new team, a new locker room, a new organization in entirety is not easy. But, it's something that the White Sox have made super easy for me. Everyone's been so kind. Guys on the team are great. Hardest part's probably moving all my stuff everywhere I go from city to city. But once all that stuff's figured out and everything else, the people within the White Sox do for me is amazing. So, all of it gets ironed out and I'm in a great spot right now. So
you mentioned moving. I think we all have experienced moving even in the same city, what a huge pain that can be. You've done this now several times in your young career. How do you handle that? How do you handle packing and moving and flying or driving? How do you handle that?
Well, the first thing you need is a very supportive mother. My mom is.
I agree.
my mom has been great through helping me figure out everything. So one of the first things I did, I guess, is when I got put on waivers the first time, or when I got put on waivers from the Rays, I just decided I'm going to put everything in a rental car. In my mind, I was like, it's very close to the start of the season. I'm just going to drive back across Florida and go to Port St. Lucie. So I put all my stuff in a car, drove across Florida, and then I was in St. Lucie in my buddy's house. Next thing you know, I get a call, and then I have to fly to Chicago. So then from there, I have to cut my rental car a few days short. I'm on a plane. I'm checking 4 bags. It was pure insanity. But I was able to do it, and I'm able to still do it right now. I don't have a confirmed living space. I'm still in a hotel, but I have been able to figure out the best way to manage it.
So as I'm a frequent traveler as well. I give you major credit for checking 4 bags, by the way. That is that is something I give you. I don't want to check 1 bag. So the fact that you're checking 4 to Chicago, I give you a lot of credit.
I know it's not something I wanted to do, but it's something that just kind of had to be done, know? So, it was one charge that, on the old credit card that happens throughout the year that you just got to eat it sometimes. And I had to do it. So
how long were you waiting at the baggage carousel for your 4 bags to come after you landed? How long was that whole process?
Ooh, I was probably there for a solid 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just waiting. But honestly, the hardest part was really just rolling the bags, through the airport. But it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. That's what I told everyone. I was like, 4 bags is not that bad. You add in a 5th, that's where it gets pretty dicey. But
I would imagine. But if you can handle rolling 4 bags through O'Hare Airport, I'm already impressed. But, you mentioned Port St. Lucie. Obviously you were drafted by the Mets, right?
Yep.
The New York Mets. You were considered, even as of last year, to be a very highly ranked prospect with them. What was your experience going through the Rule 5 drafts?
Yeah, so I think for me, um, I loved, being with the Mets, like all the people, the player development, the all my friends, like all my first friends in pro ball are with the Mets. So I think for me, it's like that really, in a way, was like the place I kind of started it all, like my whole career, in pro ball. So I think for me, going into the Rule 5 and just knowing there was a possibility of me leaving is like this. It was a really weird feeling for me because, you know, I at the same time was like, oh, I feel like I'm a Met. But at the same time, as a player, you got to remember that there's a lot of teams out there and there's a lot of people and there's a lot of, people that might have interest in you. So, but obviously with the Rule 5, the way it works, you're going to be on a major league team if you break camp. So like, it's kind of, a weird situation to be in because you're going to take the big leagues. But the Mets who I came up with, I really loved everyone there and everything. So becoming a Rule 5 draft pick was awesome. I talked about it with Rob before. It was really, really cool. Great opportunity. I'm a huge fan of it, obviously. I'm sure my buddy Shane Smith is too.
Yes.
So it's a really, really cool thing.
So you mentioned, being part of the Rule 5 draft and realizing that this is going to be an opportunity to be on a major league team. So fast forward, the White Sox grabbed you, really 2 weeks ago, pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
And you realize, especially a team like the White Sox, there's a lot of opportunity here for you to be a kind of a big part of this team. So knowing that, and you heard about the White Sox grabbing you, what were your initial reactions when you heard that news?
Yeah, so I'll never forget this. I get a call, 20 minutes past like the deadline.
Yeah.
And I see my phone light up and it's a Florida number. So I figure, it's probably a Rays person calling me to let me know, I've cleared waivers and whatever. And he goes, I answer the phone, and it's the GM of the Rays, Eric Neander. And he goes, hey, like I got a curveball for you. And I'm like, yeah, what do you got?
Pun intended curveball, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a good pun.
yeah. And he goes, well, what are you doing? And I go, I'm just watching March Madness, like on my buddy's couch. Like I want to go play baseball, And he goes, well, you got to get on a flight to Chicago. The White Sox just claimed you. And when I heard that news, I like immediately my head. When people say your head starts spinning, like I was spinning. I was in a good way. I was so happy. And he's like, very excited for me as well on the phone, which I thought was really, really cool that he, called me, was excited for me as well on the phone. That was really awesome. And then, I immediately went, called my parents, called my friends, called everyone. And then it set in the next stage of madness. Oh, I got to get to Target and I got to buy suitcases. So then that whole wave came in. But my immediate reaction was, this is awesome. I'm so excited. And I'm coming over to a team where, there's younger guys, but I also have friends on the team, which is another very, very rare thing to happen. So.
Well, and I love that you do have friends on the team because you actually have a very special connection, a Boston connection. You are a Boston guy, right?
Yep,
You're a
yep,
Bostonian.
yep.
So you have a very special connection. You mentioned Shane Smith earlier, who had a great first outing as well with the Chicago White Sox last week. But you also have a very strong connection with Sean Burke, who
Yep.
was, of course, the opening day starter for the White Sox this year.
Yep.
Walk me through your relationship with those two guys.
Yeah, so Shane and I, we all officially met junior year of high school. And for us, like back then, we all got along like pretty well, like pretty fast, which I thought was really cool. But I think what's even cooler is that even throughout the years, like I've kept up with Sean when he was in college. I work out with Shane in the off season, and I have for the past few. So like it's not even like, oh, I came to the White Sox and we're all Bostonians, so now we're and we knew each other, so we're friends. Like we'd been keeping up with each other and we had been friends before. So that for me was like a very, very special thing. It makes the transition a lot easier, but it also, I think, creates a great dynamic because, there's a lot of teams out there where I feel like a lot of the guys, it takes a little bit for them to know each other. And,
Yep.
the three of us got to know each other, way, way back junior of high school. So that's been awesome being able to have them. And also just the percentage chance of three guys from the Boston area playing together on the same major league team that graduated high school the same year. And we're all the same draft class. It's like pretty crazy. So
That actually is really crazy. I mean, I would like to know the percentage of teams, if there are any besides the White Sox, that have that dynamic. I mean, that is a rarity.
yeah, 100%. And it's really, really cool. And I love those guys. They're great, so we get along together really, really well.
Now, I heard that your locker is next to Sean Burke. Is that true?
It's so on the road, it was Shane on my left and Sean on my right, and then at home it's Shane on my right, and then Sean is one further down, I think. So
I mean, you guys have like a little Massachusetts triangle going on
yeah,
on these
yeah, we
clubhouses.
do. We really
I mean,
do.
are you guys talking New England sports? You guys talking Patriots? I mean, what's the dynamic
Yeah,
in the conversation?
A big topic of conversation right now is actually when the White Sox are going to go play at Fenway on marathon weekend. That's a big topic for all of us right now. I think we're all very excited for it, but also the fact that the weekend that it is a pretty big deal. So we were all cracking jokes about, who's going to get heckled the most when we're at Fenway. And I told the two of them, well, at least you two are starters and you get to be out there on the mound or hide in the dugout. I said, I'm just going to wear it out in the bullpen. So
You are.
yeah, but it'll be all right. Hopefully 90% of them are going to be from people I know, so it won't hurt that bad.
Well, and I was going to ask, I mean, how many comps do the White Sox have to request for the three of you now? I mean, that's going to be a battle.
Yeah, that is, we haven't even gotten there yet. I do know a lot of, at least I'll call it like my group, in terms of friends, like those guys are already getting tickets. So like I'm able to take care of like my family group. But it could get dicey with all the tickets. It could get bad. Yeah.
That'll be interesting. But
yeah.
I also heard that you and Sean Burke actually faced off in high school against each other.
Yeah, we did.
How was that? I mean, who got a hit off of who? Did anyone get a hit off of who?
So I remember I faced Sean. That game I was playing left field. The first at bat, I remember I was thinking, I was like, I just got to time one fastball up. Like I just got to time one of these up.
Yeah.
And I just got my doors blown off. Like I was like 1, 2, 3 strikeout. I didn't even come close. The second at bat, I remember I was like, I have to just swing like now. Like I got to swing early. And I rolled over to second base. So I did put the ball in play. And his second baseman made an error. So I got on base. I know it's an error, but in my mind, I got a hit.
I agree.
But it's still, even though it doesn't really count. And then the other time I faced him, I have no problem saying I dominated him. I struck him out fairly easily. But I will say, if Sean and I ever play basketball against each other, he's a really, really good hoops player. That's one thing that I think I would have trouble with him.
Okay, that's actually interesting. Now,
Yeah.
did you two play basketball in high school?
We both did, but we
Okay.
both never played against each other, which is kind of surprising because
It
BC
is.
High plays St. John's, Shrewsbury, and baseball and a lot of stuff, but not hoops. We don't play each other in basketball.
So Sean Burke is a good basketball player, is what
He
you're
is. He
saying.
is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he is.
I mean, the White Sox may need to do a little shootout between you and Sean Burke for their social media team. I don't know.
I would do it. I'd be open to it. Yeah.
So that's an incredible connection again with Shane Smith and Sean Burke. But now I got to ask you, I got to do a little competition here. Who did you text first, Sean Burke or Shane Smith, when you found out you were coming to the Sox?
Well, I did. Put me on the spot, but
I did. I had to.
I did text Shane first, but that is because the reason behind that was because Shane had found out a few days like prior to that as well. Oh, I'm also making the team. So I figured, like Sean, I knew was on the team. Like I knew, that would happen. But like for me and Shane, it's a little more like this is our debut, a little more like big deal. Hey, like I'm joining, I'm coming with you. That was so I did text Shane first. Yeah.
Well, and that's okay. I'm sure Sean will let that slide because two
Yeah.
Rule 5 guys making the team, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Now, you mentioned your major league debut. You had that last week. Congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. What were your emotions and feelings when you got the call in the pen, walking out to the mound? What was going through your head?
Yeah, I think so. I remember the bullpen coach told me, he's like, hey, you should probably start moving around. And I had been the prior, couple games, but I remember the first time when he actually said like, hey, Vasil, you're in the game. I get up to the mounds and I start throwing. And I remember like one of the first thoughts that went through my head was like, wow, this is really about to happen. And then, the bullpen coach had a few words for me. He's great. Matt Wiles, he's awesome. And Wise, not Wiles. And he was just saying, um, just go out there, do your thing. You've worked your whole life for this, go do it. And, it was great. And I really, honestly, once I warmed up fully and it was my time to run out, I ran out there and obviously I had the nerves. I had, really fast heartbeat, but I didn't feel like super uncomfortable. And I think part of it was, I had my family there. I had people that were supporting me there. So I knew that like, up until this moment, there was a lot of pressure to get there. Like, I'm not going to add pressure on top of myself now. Like, I'm here now. Like, just relax. You're here for a reason. Like, go pitch, and that's what really, really helped me. And it was awesome. So
And I believe you had 2 innings that
I
game,
did.
right?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I did.
How was it? What was your reaction to pitching? I mean, when Will Venable told you, okay, this is your inning again. How was that for you?
Well, honestly, for me, I threw the 1 inning and naturally at first I was like, oh, that's probably it. But then like they were like, hey, no, you got the next one. And honestly, I was pretty happy about it because I hadn't pitched in a while. And I don't think many people know that because I was on waivers and I got put on waivers at a time where it was lining up to almost be for one of my last few outings before spring. So that outing, I think it was 16 days or something since I'd last pitched. I'd obviously thrown and been on the mound and all that stuff, but truly in game, I think it was 16 days. So when he told me, hey, you got the second or another inning, like I was like, yeah, like I want to play, I want to go pitch. So,
Yes, yes.
I had no issue with it. Yeah.
Well, that changes the whole vibe now with those great 2 innings that you threw, knowing that it's been 16 days. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yes, of course. But you mentioned kind of the whirlwinds of the last couple weeks, craziness. What has your impressions been of the White Sox overall so far, clubhouse wise?
Yeah, it's great. Like I love it. There's so many guys here that I think, we have the perfect blend of like younger and also, vets, but veteran guys that, also have been around like very, very good winning successful teams, like Michael A. Taylor won a World Series with the Nationals and, obviously Ben Attendee and like there's just a lot of guys on this team who, can relate, I think, to the younger guys. And they run a great clubhouse and the younger guys are all great people. I think everyone's very, very respectful of each other's, space and work. And I think those are all the things that go into a clubhouse that really matter. And I think, we got a great group of guys, honestly, and everyone so far has been fantastic to me. So couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, I know you haven't had a ton of time in Chicago yet, but
Yeah.
have you experienced anything about the city so far that you've loved? Restaurants, especially.
So the pizza is it Lou Malnati's,
Lou
right?
Malnati's, yes,
I've
yeah.
been there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very
Okay.
good. It was very good. Um, I've been to. I'm trying to think. I don't think. Oh, I've been to I think it's Trivoli Tavern.
Trivoli Tavern, good, very good choice.
So yes, so
Okay.
I went with a couple friends. They actually helped set that up after my debut, which was very nice of them.
Yes.
But that was another great spot I've been to. But other than that, like I need to explore more. I need to explore. You know, I haven't been there a while, so it's hard. But I will. Any recommendations from anyone, I'm taking them. So
Yes, we got to get you set up with some good establishments for sure. It is a great eating town. You will be very, very happy with that, as I'm sure you've already experienced.
yeah,
Now, this is very controversial in Chicago. You went to Lou Malnati's. You got the deep dish pizza, right? Okay.
yes.
Okay. What did you think of deep dish? And this is a safe space. I will not judge your answer. I might a little bit deep down, but I won't judge you publicly. But what are your thoughts on deep dish pizza?
So that was my first time having like real Chicago deep dish.
Okay.
Here's what could be seen as a pro and a con to it. One of the pros I saw was that you don't have to eat a lot of it to be full.
Yes.
So that is a good thing and could be a bad thing if you like want to eat like a lot of food for whatever reason, or like you don't like being full fast. But for me, like I love pizza, so eating a smaller amount but being full quickly, I'm totally cool with that. So I like that. I really enjoyed the taste. The one thing I didn't realize is how much cheese there was, so that caught me off guard. But I'm totally I love cheese, so you know, for me, it's fine.
Well, that is actually a fantastic breakdown of our deep dish pizza. And I did appreciate that. That is tremendous. But overall, you enjoy it, and that's all I care about, right?
Yes, I do enjoy it. I do.
That's all I needed to hear. But we will definitely get you hooked up with some good Chicago locations. Now, when you get settled in, the weather needs to warm up. You will experience
Yep.
those wonderful Chicago summers that you've heard about. So
Yes.
yes, we're excited to have you, and I appreciate all your time today, Mike, and good luck the rest of the year.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on, and you know, I'm ready for everyone, the White Sox, me, everyone. You know, let's all have a great year. So
It's all that matters. Good luck the
Yep.
rest of the way.
yeah, thank you.